Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Hakim Ziyech. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off. Hat-trick hero. Cole Palmer wins an epic, sensational game.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode, welcome to the jungle. Supporting Chelsea ain't fun and games.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. I'm joined in the virtual room filled with lions. I've got Ollie. I've got Chris. Berth will be back hopefully Thursday. He's just not feeling too good with his throat. So wishing him all the best. We can't wait to have him back because he wants that Lone Army carousel. That's what he's secretly doing right now. He's researching. He knows what's coming up.
He's researching. Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's looking at like Bundesliga results in the 1990s.
Can't wait for him to. We're going to actually do a full deep dive on the history of Noah FC. That's going to be the Lone Army carousel. He's got to name the entire starting 11 for their last game. Just him. He's just got to do it on his own. Right. Moments of the weekend. It was a great weekend. It was for me. But what about you guys? What were your moments?
Boring weekend for me. Sorry, got nothing. I'm not even going to pretend to have anything. I've got nothing.
He's got nothing.
Wow.
I work at the weekends. That's all I do.
Yeah, that's boring.
Yeah. We don't.
That is boring, Ollie.
We all
Yeah,
work.
I know.
Got to stop working, mate. Have yourself a weekend.
Yeah.
Mine was my daughter scored and won 3-0 on Saturday for the year above, the age group above. So that was it.
Nice.
Because then Sunday I played and got absolutely battered. So mixed weekend. Mixed weekend football result-wise, but no, seeing her score her first goal for the age group above was a good moment.
That's pretty awesome.
I mean, she's ahead of the curve, right?
That is true. That is true.
I hope so, yeah.
I was waiting for Chris to actually confirm that. Look, it was the perfect hat trick for me. It was perfect, and I'll find the sound drop, which I can never find it. No, never. Oh, there it is.
It was perfect.
It was
Perfect.
Oh,
It was perfect.
this weekend it was Seattle Sounders won straight away. They won 4-0 against Columbus Crew, arguably the best team in the MLS without Messi. Yes, they had their goalkeeper sent off very early on, and they didn't have a goalkeeper on the bench, so that explained that. If you watched it, listener, you will see a player playing just like you imagine an outfielder would in goal. It was. I don't care, 4-0. Denmark won. And then
Why didn't they have a keeper on the bench? Sorry?
No, they didn't have a goalkeeper on the bench. I don't know. I've no idea.
That's a really unfortunate week to not have a goalkeeper on the bench.
Yeah.
99.9% of the time, it wouldn't matter.
One job.
Of all the weeks for the keeper to get sent off, he chooses that one.
Yeah, they had one job and they decided, fuck it. I'm actually looking.
Surely the gaffer's had a word beforehand. He said, right, I've got no keepers on the bench today.
Here we go.
It
says, due to international call-ups and rules restricting the amount of times teams can elevate a player from their second team to the first, the Columbus Crew did not have a natural goalkeeper on the bench. Oh, well, you had one job and you got sent off, didn't you, Mr. Romero? So, Denmark won. And then the Seattle Seahawks kicked off their NFL season with a big W. I'm a bloody happy guy. And, of course, football moment of the weekend, Poulsen. It's the overhead kick goal for Denmark against Serbia. It was beautiful.
Yeah, good goal.
Oh, I saw one thing before we do shout-outs. I did see about Declan Rice performing probably the first person in history to do a no celebration of respect during an international game.
I didn't like that. It's woke nonsense.
I didn't like that either. I don't like it because he actually chose not to represent Ireland.
We used to be a real country.
Yeah, it's not like a club thing, is it? Where sometimes you get sold when you don't want to. he actively went, "No, I'm not going to play for Ireland. I'll play for England instead," and then decided to respect them.
Do you know what? Do you know what I enjoyed the most was the dichotomy in the celebrations, because you had Rice is really reserved one, and Grealish didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Very. And the only two players, the two players that they won't hurt us. Well, they did. Right. Before we dive into the news, it's time for one of Cheva's shout-outs, and it's a hat trick. We got 3. I'm going to read this out, and this is from them. This isn't me saying it. Rightfully Insane has put in 5 stars, and they've just put "see above," and it's their caption. Bloody hell! I would invade France for Ollie's laugh. I have no idea on the context of that, but there we go.
Do you know what? I really appreciate that. More than you know.
Superb pod. This is Dreamcatcher44. Superb pod from Honest Opinions. Nothing to pay to listen to it. They don't stop and sell merch. Well, we did have some. We just never paid it. We just never put it out there. Just pure Chelsea talk. No adverts. Great job, guys. And thank you.
You're very welcome.
And with that, we're sponsored this week by the greatest. Moving on. Good banter on Chelsea FC. 5 stars. Oh, I don't like this straight away. This is a Chris Burner account. It's Mals_football. Straight away, this is a Chris Burner. It goes, Chris is the star of the show. Of
course he is.
Straight away, I'm suspect there. He says it's how it is with no sugarcoating. Mikey's fascination with American sport is comedy gold. So too is Ollie's lack of weekend activities. We hit the jackpot.
Oh, yes.
No. It is perfect. Ollie had no weekend.
Yep.
Yeah. NFL. Yeah. Chris is naturally just the star. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. They're like, Chris is never wrong, and he's the star, and he's so handsome and modest.
My wife finally left that review then.
Yeah. Oh my word. Right. Thank you as always for leaving those 5-star reviews. We really do appreciate it. So we've got some news to hit. So some positive to kick it off. We're heading to Kingsmeadow because we've got a little match report because Chelsea had their final pre-season game for the WSL kickoff. It ended 9-0 over Feyenoord. That's 3 from 3.
No, it was 8-1.
Was it
9-1?
I thought it was 9-0.
No, they definitely got one, didn't they?
That's not what the website says.
Fair enough. Then.
Let me just double check. I
could have sworn I saw one.
Probably offside.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm pretty sure. Hang on, let me just check. Sorry, listeners, we've just got to check this result. 9-0. Yeah, sorry. 9-0.
Fair enough.
Official website says 9.
My apologies. Yeah, fair enough.
How dare you criticise? How do you doubt my expert reviewing?
Mikey's research.
My research is always spot on.
To be honest, I shouldn't doubt Bompastor.
Well, 3 from 3.
No,
hey, within the first 8 minutes, we had already taken a 2-goal lead. Sandy Baltimore and Myra Ramirez. Half-time, we doubled that lead. Nushkin, who doesn't seem to celebrate, which, well, okay. Close range finish by Captain meant we were 4 up at half-time. And then during the second half, Millie Bright headed in from a corner. And then the subs took over. Hamano set up Aggie Beaver-Jones before, obviously, she scored herself. Beaver-Jones scored twice late in the game to grab that 27-minute hat-trick. So, yeah, highest of highs. There is a low point from this game. It was a bit of a double injury. Neve Charles had to be subbed after landing awkwardly on her arm, and Sophie Ingle came off with a knee injury. I haven't seen an update since, so I don't know if it's worse or good, better, whatever. But any general thoughts on the game and the upcoming season, though?
Yes. One, it was nice to see Millie Bright get a goal because she doesn't get them very often these days because she doesn't play quite as often at the moment. And Aggie Beaver-Jones might be our best player.
Yeah. She's incredible.
Yeah, that's it, really.
She's incredible. And it's one of our own as well, which makes it even better.
Yeah, she's brilliant. Really like Aggie Beaver-Jones.
Chris, is the injuries is that a worry or?
Injuries are always a bit of a concern. But what I would say is that our squad we have got a really good squad. So we have got enough quality to cover injuries. I think you've seen that last season, to be fair. Still winning the league with the injuries that we had. So yes, it is a concern because you want to put your best team out, but it's not as a big concern because the quality coming in is more than good enough to win games. I think the most impressive thing for me is the fact that you wouldn't believe there's been a managerial change.
Yeah,
I think the team looks
started as they mean to go on.
Yeah, correct to that.
Yeah, I think the team looks just as good, if not better, than it did.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But it's amazing what you can do when you take a successful winning team and you don't blow it up.
Yeah, that does help.
It's amazing.
I just think I think we was all concerned when you have a manager for as long as we had Emma Hayes for, and then you change that. We was all concerned about how that was going to go, but it seems as though the squad's took to Bumperstore really well. She's done a great job as well in getting all the players on side early
She's
doors.
really charming as well in press conferences. I find
and it just
she's
seems
got a lot of charisma.
Again, it seems again though like they've got the women's team right. They haven't got rid of all the experienced players. The signings we make are good. Like we seem to be going down the road of signing younger players for the women's team now as well. If you look at the business this summer, but we've kept the core experienced players there, and I think bringing in a manager who's won things as well. I'm as excited for this season as any other season, which is odd to say without Emma Hayes there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, considering what it could have been, that there was a big positive for me was literally at the very end. We saw Erin Cuthbert and Sam Kerr walk onto the pitch. No crutches, no limping. And Sonia did confirm that Cuthbert should be fit for the opener. That's incredible considering what we were expecting after, nasty injury and the crutches and everything. Sam Kerr she said she should be back next month. Now that's Sam Kerr saying that, not a medical professional. So you don't know if they go, look, you got to give it a bit more time. But hey, it's positive considering. So
the real positive with that though is the fact we don't have to rush Sam Kerr back. We 100%. Can ease her back in.
Yeah.
Because we've got players who are doing the business in that position anyway.
We've got Jones, we've got players who can score goals, so she can just spend her time getting fit and getting well.
Yeah, we're blessed up in the front forward department. So, right, moving from a positive to, when I said international breaks are always quiet. Turns out that was a big smelly turd of a lie because there has been a little trouble brewing down at Chelsea. And the Bloomberg to Telegraph started reporting it, and there was a huge rift between Clearlake Capital and Todd Boehly. And then The Athletic did a great article on it. So I've got bullet points for you all. There's a few, but we'll get through them. So starting with Chelsea's ownership is experiencing a significant rift between majority shareholder Clearlake Capital and the co-owner Todd Boehly. Boehly and Clearlake co-founder Badad Iqbali are reportedly no longer on speaking terms, with both exploring options to buy each other out. Major contributing factors to this fallout include cultural differences in how the club should operate, disagreement over the decision to part ways with former head coach Pochettino, lack of progress on the Stamford Bridge Stadium redevelopment project. So that was all those. And then we moved to Chelsea's transfer market strategy has been divisive, with more than 1.2 billion in spending and over 500 million in sales since the takeover. Boehly stepped back from day-to-day recruitment operations in early 23, leaving Iqbali more actively involved. Tensions apparently grew as Boehly believed Iqbali was micromanaging, especially in transfers, while Clearlake saw Boehly as interfering in sporting decisions. There have been no progress on plans for a new or redeveloped Stamford Bridge. Both sides are exploring their options, with outside investors approaching Boehly and Clearlake considering full control. And finally, the dispute has led to increased public instability at Chelsea, adding uncertainty to the club's future ownership structure. Oh, wow. I mean, how do we feel about this completely normal Chelsea thing that happens?
One normal week of Chelsea.
It's so normal. It's chaos. That's literally Chelsea in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's just it's a total mess. I think you laid it out really well there, Mikey, with the way that, it came out. And it seems that now there's a bit of a war of words in the media with it sort of being briefed back and forth. We don't really know what's going to happen I guess, as Chelsea fans. We don't know whether, Clearlake is going to buy Bowley out or Bowley's going to buy Clearlake's shares out and then go on himself with someone else. We just don't know what's going to happen. And part of the reason for that is obviously even if either side does want to sell, it doesn't behoove them to actually say that they want to, because it makes their negotiating position worse. These guys are businessmen after all, right?
Yeah.
Having said that, I think we'd seen rumours and little hints and things of a rift between them in the last sort of 6 months, and it was sort of batted away by the media. And so it's interesting to see that there was real substance to those reports at the time. And personally, for me, I think if you had to pick one to keep going with the club, I think Bowley has the better vision. I'm sure we can get more into it if we wanted to, but
yeah, of course.
I think he's just sporting head in charge. He's built winning teams before.
Exactly, that's true.
Ighbali's been doing a lot of the strategy for the stuff now, which people don't really agree with. So I don't know.
I mean, Chris, when we look at this in general, when we look at the losers of this, why is Enzo Fernandez the loser from all this? But genuinely,
because he's the one thing they agreed on.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. How do you feel about all this complete and utter normal stuff?
It's not great, because I know some people have been saying about they don't think it should have any effect on the players or the management, but it does, because that sort of instability, it breeds a culture of not knowing what's coming next. So if you think you're Maresca, for example, if it turned out that Bowley was to buy Clearlake out, then all of a sudden he's thinking, well, I could be in trouble here because he didn't really want me to start. He didn't really want me to come in the first place. So that's a problem.
Yeah, and certain players will have the same sort of thing, like so-and-so bought me,
exactly.
So-and-so sold me. Yeah.
Yeah. So it will filter down and it will have a detrimental effect, because it's also the atmosphere around the place. If there's that sort of thing going on, it's not good for the club. And it needs to be resolved as quick as possible. You can't have the two people in charge not talking to each other.
No,
because that's going to be a problem.
I did laugh when go on, Chris.
Whichever way it works out, either they need to put their differences aside and just get on with it like adults, or one of them needs to leave, because that's the only way that's the only two ways it gets resolved.
The words I've heard time and time again actually about it is that the relationship is untenable. And that would suggest that it's beyond the point of no return.
Well, they have clearly different visions. I mean, when I looked deeper into the article, I did chuckle, because we're going to laugh. I joked earlier, but Bowley had nothing to do with Mudryk. That was Ighbali and Winstanley going over to deal the deal. They also did the Enzo Fernandez deal. So you're kind of looking and going, oh, those are the two. I mean, I think overall, though, I think this proves my point. Months ago, bloody hell, I think years ago, well, maybe not quite years, I said that the whole 10-year no sale promise was nothing but waffle. And I was kicked back on that, going, no, no, this potentially will prove that. Because we would
depends, doesn't it? Because they can.
Yes and
there
no.
was probably a clause that means that they could sell or buy out each other's shares, but maybe not to a third party.
I look at it. We were never told for definite that there was a legally binding contract that stated they couldn't sell a single share until after a decade. I mean, this is like the equivalent of a character in a movie being killed off, yet you don't see the body. So yeah, until I see it, I don't believe it. And I added this in, don't get me started on the 3 billion we were sold for, because does anyone even know where that has gone? Exactly. No one seems to know. And the government haven't spoke about it either. When it comes to the two sides, I'm very vocal. I'm on the Todd Bowley side of all this, because he was part of a team, but he helped make the LA Dodgers a winner. He wants to win. Say what you like about him. He wants to win. Ighbali and co, at the end of the day, they're there for profit. You have to accept that, because that's what these consortium, they don't buy Chelsea like Roman did to go, win all the trophies, have some fun. No, they're there for profit.
That's what they do. What I've found really strange about all this is how did those two ever decide to go into business together in the first place? Like, it's the equivalent of like you go out and with a girl for 3 dates, and then you decide to get married, have children, and buy a house, right? And then you realize a year in that it's not working. Like, and you're like, well, who could have seen that coming? Like, like, sure, it's just right. I don't know, man. It seems to me that like this. A lot of it really speaks to the lack of strategy and like the messing around with the strategy that we've seen like over time, how it's changed and stuff. Because clearly there's conflicting views about how we're supposed to do this. So I think when it does get resolved, if it gets resolved, hopefully when, it will be better with one of their two visions than the mess that we have at the moment. Because at the moment we're not moving forward.
It'll be interesting to see who gets the kids and all this in the divorce, Mudryk and Enzo. It'll be very interesting. Barley probably, because he bought them, so Right, this is quite something we did a little different. Let me cue some music up. I'm going to take you into the heart of the jungle, where danger lurks behind every corner. Something much bigger than us is waiting to strike. It's the 2024-25 season. It's a beast. And if we're not careful, it's going to wrap itself around us, squeeze the life out of Chelsea's hopes and dreams, just like the legendary Anaconda. There are lurking threats ready to swallow up everything we've worked for. Mistakes, bad breaks, unexpected losses. They all lie in wait, camouflaged, until it's too late to escape that deadly grip. So join us as we navigate those treacherous waters of what could derail this season. We're about to dive into the hidden perils, the creeping dangers, and the ruthless challenges that could tank it all. Are we going to survive? Or will this season end up just another victim in the jaws of that beast? Chris, starting with you here, what do you think is going to swallow up this season?
Hang on. Hang on. Can you do that next time in like a Steve Irwin, like Australian accent? I think that would fit really well.
We have a lot of Australian listeners. I do not want to upset them because offend we all know I can't. Offend is
everyone knows you can't offend an Australian.
let us know, listeners, if you think. Chris, what do you think is going to swallow up? You were brilliant when you sent in ones. I know you were dead serious as well in the group chat, but what do you think?
Yeah, my first one is if Enzo Maresca's position becomes untenable. Now, I don't think he'd get the sack unless something goes horribly wrong. I think he can underperform and he'll stay. But if it got to a point where we were so bad, so, bottom half of the table.
We'd have to drop lower than 40. We were under Pochettino, wouldn't we?
Yeah. So let's say we was 14th or he started to lose the dressing room. And they had to get rid of him. I don't think there's a contingency plan for if that happens. And then that's when we end up with bringing Frank Lampard back situation.
Can you imagine?
And, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying if it were to happen, I think it would set us back like 2 years because I don't think they'd have a plan for what to do next. The manager market's as dry as the Sahara. So it's slim pickings anyway. And I haven't really backed him to get the decision right this time. So I wouldn't back him to get it right the next time. So I think, biggest concern would be Maresca failing.
I mean, we could always get Max Allegri. Let's upset the fans with boring football. I mean, you know what's funny? I've just typed into Transfermarkt, managers currently available. This is exactly who they've got in order. Lampard, Potter, Pochettino, because officially he hasn't joined the US yet. Makelele, Joachim Low, Thomas Tuchel, Xavi.
Jesus.
It's not... Probably
Tuchel won't be out of the job for long.
Well, the Pochettino
to be fair, though, it's bad, isn't it, that over half that list have been Chelsea manager.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you really want to go you've got Edin Terzic and David Moyes, Kasper Hjulmand, former Danish manager. I don't know. No. Greg Berhalter, Sam Allardyce. There we go. There's a man that could steer this ship. No, the Pochettino thing, if people wondered, why he's not the US manager is because they're still negotiating his contract with Chelsea because we're paying him and we don't want to pay him out because it's a PSR hit. So it's like, what will Poch give up to leave to go? It's like, it's money again, isn't it? Go on, Ollie.
Yeah. All right. My first one is a really specific one actually. It's losing to Leicester. On the 23rd of November this year is our first game against Leicester this season. And if we lose that game, we're playing away. If we lose that game, it's a really, really bad look for the club, for Enzo Maresca, for a lot of things, because there was this prevailing narrative when we bought in Enzo Maresca that he was kind of the mastermind behind that Leicester side that went and did really well in the Championship last season. But if we then go to Leicester and they, if it goes badly, they pop 3 past us or whatever, then Enzo Maresca doesn't look like the genius who got Leicester up last season. He looks like someone who the team dragged up with them. Like the perception changes, and then from there, like I think that's one event I think that could do a real lot of damage to Enzo Maresca's image at Chelsea this season. So I think that game is all games are a must win, but that is a do not lose.
I know when we lost to Leicester under Mourinho in that second spell. That was it. That was him done.
Yeah,
and that was their champ. There was their Premier League winning one. I've just checked, Chris. If you wondered, Lampard is available. Potter's available. Tuchel is available. That's 3 for 3. I also forgot to say that Sarri is available. There's a lot of managers. There's 5 Chelsea managers.
There are a lot of unemployed Chelsea managers.
Pochettino is still technically on there, so I've got to put him on there. But wow, that's not great, is it? It's not great.
It's not.
Oh,
is Gianfranco Zola in a job at the moment?
No, I don't think he is. There we go. There's somewhere he could probably just get a game in if he wanted. I'd start him over Mudryk right now. I am going there. Right, for mine, it was that VAR just finally decides it hates us. Because if it became self-aware and developed that personal vendetta against us, calling offside for literally every goal we score.
If VAR was self-aware, it would hate us.
I mean, fans would just start preparing for 0-0 draws as the norm. And VAR, it would start to leave those passive-aggressive post-match comments on every Chelsea Instagram post. That could swallow it up. But in reality, VAR, I mean, we know how many goals have been chalked off for us. So a positive spin to this. What can we do to counter it? So I think we need to sort out our forwards to stay on side and basically timing our runs. Because if we can time them better, we could have those free scoring chances. I mean, we'd probably miss all the shots we take, but at least we'd be able to get, the chance to take the shot. Because I've noticed that a fair bit, maybe it's a couple of players, but just not timing the runs. And that's got to be based on the training ground. We need to time runs better.
I think with VAR, it's become almost impossible now for a forward to perfectly time their run. It's so much harder now because before you could get it wrong by millimeters, by centimeters, even by a few inches, and the linesman might miss it because the naked eye can't catch it. But now with VAR, the fact that you are talking about 2 inches of someone's foot or their sleeve because they're pointing to where they want the ball in front of them, and the fact that they're drawing lines now and it's going to be semi-automated, so it's going to be even more precise. I actually think it's incredibly difficult now for a forward to time their run.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah. I mean,
it's took all the fun out of football, innit? Let's be honest.
It feels like they use VAR as a lazy way to re-referee a decision. It does feel a bit like that. I mean, that could be being grumpy and shouting at clouds and going, "Oh, it was better in the day," but it kind of does take excitement out.
I've always said with offsides, like I don't mind them bringing in technology for offside because linesmen do miss things. If they're not looking or they're looking at the wrong player or whatever. I don't think you should be allowed to draw lines. I think it should just be a freeze frame, pause it, And if you can't tell that he's offside by the naked eye,
then
you give the on-field decision.
Yeah, I like that. Fully agree. Chris, who's your next one?
This is pretty simple. An injury to Cole Palmer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How one team are we again? Oh, it's like Hazard again.
Yeah, because we do have a lot of options to cover if he wasn't playing, but none of them are his level, or even close. Even think back to the Wolves game, which was a comfortable win in the end. His 3 passes to Madueke to set him up wasn't overly difficult passes at all. But would you back everyone else who plays there to get that pass right? For example, you put João Felix in that exact same position. Does he get that pass right? Does he play the pass?
No.
Question number 1. So
does he get it right? No.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it wasn't anything special Palmer did, but it was more just the decision making. And I think out of everyone else who plays, if he wasn't there, their decision making in the final third isn't as good. And I think if we didn't have him, we'll be in big trouble if we got a long-term injury to him.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be screwed. Let's be blunt. Ollie, who's your next up? What do you think could swallow it up?
It's kind of tangentially related to Chris's. Actually, it's not using the academy appropriately this season. Maresca's got his squad of 21 players or so that he is working with. We're ignoring the bomb squad and whatnot for now. He's also got some considerations to make because we are going to be playing a lot of games this season. We've got Conference League, we've got the Club World Cup at the end of the year, we've got the domestic trophies, as well as trying to do as best as well as we can in the league as well. We're playing 60, 70 games this season. It's going to be a lot of games. And so I think it's really important that early on in the season, we can get some of these young players, some of these youth players from the academy blooded early, because eventually in this season, because we're playing so many games, players are going to get injured. It's going to happen. Players now play more games than ever, so they get more injured more than ever. It's not rocket science. And so when they get injured this season, we need to have adequate depth that can come in and do a job. Now, whether that's just for this season before they're sold for pure profit or what have you, but that it behooves the club and it benefits the club in one way or another to do that. There's no point, for example, if you've got Disasi at right back, there's no point having him at right back. Put someone like Achiampong there. He'll benefit from the experience. He'll probably, for his natural position, at least, sort of one of them. It just makes more sense. I want to see, it doesn't even need to be like a whole great big swathe of academy players. Our team's young enough, but a few would be really great. Significant minutes for Dyer, George, and Achiampong this season would be phenomenal, because that's 3 extra squad players and potentially 3 extra players who could be really good that we don't know about yet. So we really need to make sure we use them.
So my final one is leaders. Where are you? So this anaconda, this is quite the beast for me. It feasts on the vulnerable. And if you don't have a leader in your team, where are you going? Where are you going? You're going to get lost. And with Thiago Silva gone, some may say, Reece James, he could guide us through the jungle. We'll be safe. But what if he trips and he hurts his knee? His hamstring's gone. We will have a Chelsea that struggles with a lack of leadership on the pitch. We saw, and I keep stating this, and Chris is very pinpointed on this before, we saw how Silva guided players. He coached them through a game. And now the team could find it hard to rally during tough matches, because that's when mental resilience suffers. Leading to those late collapses, drop points from winning positions. I still worry about leadership in that team because it is Reece James. It was then, you could argue, Conor Gallagher. He's gone. I don't see another leader in this team. Experienced, at least.
No, you are right. That's been a problem that we've all been concerned about for a long time, I think. I think it's naive of the board to think that they could have this younger team and still be successful. I've never seen a team this young win stuff. you know, even I know a lot of people talk about the 99 Man United team being, you don't win anything with kids, and then they went and won the treble, but they still had experienced players in that team. It wasn't a team full of kids like we've got who was all 21, 22 years old. They still had a lot of experienced players in that team. It just happened that the stars was the younger players. But I think we've gone down a very dangerous road of getting rid of all of the experience. And I think it will show as the season goes on more how important that lack of leadership is. Because like you said, it's not in the games that you're winning. It doesn't matter. It's the games that you're losing. Yeah. The games that are tough, the ones where, you've got a goal down against someone you wasn't expecting to. How do you react? You've conceded a goal in the 85th minute and you're losing 1-0. How do you react? Who rallies? Who drags the team with them? We haven't seen a lot of that from these players to suggest that despite their age, they can do it. But someone at some point, and probably more than one, is going to have to stand up this season and be counted and say, no, listen, in tough moments, I'll guide us through. A bit like Gallagher did last season. Like, he came from out of nowhere. It wasn't necessarily, no one looked at him in the summer and thought, oh, he's the right leader of the group. And he developed and he grew into it. So we need someone to do that.
Yeah, what makes me laugh about that quote about the class of 95, 92, whatever, shows how much attention I play to Man United. But look at the ages. I'll pull up the players' ages because I've got it in front of me. Schmeichel, 32, straight away veteran leader. Steve Bruce, 35. Gary Pallister, 31. Paul Parker, 32. And then I move further up. I've got Eric Cantona, 30. Brian McClair, 32. You had experienced already there. We don't have many players that, and remember, Cantona, McClair, and all the others were actually playing. We don't have players that are of that age. Bettinelli, he's not playing.
We had a similar dynamic to the class of 92 when we've got Lampard in the first time, and we brought in all the youth players when we had the transfer ban. That's the more appropriate thing, and that team actually performed better, similar to that Man United team. So it makes sense. It's nobody's done what we're doing, and I think there's a reason for that.
Yeah, right. Our listeners are always incredible. You are outstanding, and you sent in some even more outstanding anacondas that could hit us. So I've got Jake who said Robert Sanchez, just him. Him alone. Very fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Robert Sanchez and anyone who could replace him in the squad.
Yeah, Rubicon went with injuries. Yeah, classic last year.
Classic Chelsea, yeah.
My philosophy said leaking more goals than the oil spill joke. That is our home kit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael put us, not us as the pod, but the supporters. We have to show them we believe this will work. Yeah,
that's
toxicity.
So true.
Yeah, booing someone never gets someone to do better work. It never works.
I don't know about you. When I boo my postman, he delivers the post.
Yes.
I don't think the supporters thing though is going to change unless we go on a run of winning games, because I think the issue is
we have got to go on a run though at some point. We've got to.
Yeah, but I don't think enough people actually believe in the direction the club's going and in Maresca as a coach, and I think that's the problem. If you don't believe in it, it's really hard to back it.
That's the thing, because I'm even right now, like, I want us to do well, and there's a difference between I want and I believe.
Yeah.
Right now, I want it to work, but do I believe? If someone said, make your decision, yes or no, do you believe this is going to work? I would say no. And that's the thing. That's the problem.
You think surely, though, we could win 5 on the spin at one point this season? Surely. Is that enough to sort of like kick things into gear? I don't know.
It would depend who you beat for me.
Yeah.
If it was 5 teams who are in the bottom 7, then no. But if it was 3 teams who was down the bottom and you beat them convincingly, and then we win at Spurs away and you beat Man United at home, then yeah, I think then it's a very, very similar to what happened to Poch at the second half of last season. We had those results that the crowd got behind and it turned and everyone started to believe actually this team is starting to grow. And it matters how you win them. We won so many games last season in the way that supporters would choose to win games. Like, last minute against Man United coming from 3-2 down to win 4-3. That sort of stuff, that's the catalyst. That kickstarts your belief. Yeah. Those sort of games.
A lot did say, like, here you got Vic and Alexander who both said Cole Palmer and Reece James if they miss any games. Yeah, Cole Palmer. How incredible is it that we rely so much on Cole? And John as well said about injuries to Cole or any of our defenders.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer, fair play. You've said something that I agree. Lack of leadership. Yeah, that's the thing. Got no leaders. I keep saying it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
See what happens, when our heads drop.
Yeah.
Because so far when we've been pegged back under Maresca, we haven't had the same resilience as we did under Pochettino.
Well, no Kresma questions this week, because that's pretty much what the questions were. Was like, tell us what you think is going to swallow us up. So we do have top trump. No, we don't have top trumps. We have tenable, and it's the category is actually the 2010-11 Premier League season. I want you to work together to name me the top 10 goalkeepers who kept the most clean sheets in the 2010-11 season.
2010-11. This is going to be hard.
They're all well-known names, I feel.
In the Premier League, you say?
In the Premier League.
Yeah. Right. Petr Cech.
15 for Chelsea. He was second.
Van der Sar.
Van der Sar, 14 for number 4.
Was Rayner about back then?
14 for Liverpool. He was third.
Who was Arsenal's keeper then?
Not in the top 10.
Not in the top 10.
I couldn't even remember. Was it Szczesny?
It was long for them. It was Szczesny or Almunia, maybe?
Yeah, it could have been
someone shit.
Yeah. I could be kind and give you the teams.
Yeah,
so we haven't got number one.
No,
we haven't got number one.
That's the one that I feel that you cannot. I'm shocked you've missed him out.
Joe Hart.
Joe Hart with 18.
Yeah.
So from 5 down, you've got Fulham, Birmingham City, Everton, Stoke, Sunderland, Blackburn Rovers.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, he's on there.
Brad Friedel.
Mark Schwarzer.
Brad Friedel. No. There's another former blue on here.
Rob Green?
Ben Foster?
Yes, Birmingham City's Ben Foster, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Everton, Stoke, Sunderland, Blackburn Rovers. One of them
what's his name?
Played for us.
Pantilimon.
Begovic?
No. Begovic, yeah. Didn't he win a Premier League with us? I feel like he did.
Jaskalainen?
No.
Yeah, wasn't he back up to Courtois, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Everton, Sunderland, and Blackburn Rovers.
Jesus, Blackburn Rovers in 2010.
It's an English goalkeeper, an English former England number 1 goalkeeper.
David James?
No.
Paul Robinson?
Paul Robinson. And now you've got Everton and Sunderland.
Everton.
Oh,
Tim Howard.
Yes. And
nice.
Sunderland, I feel he got a big move because of how he played for Sunderland.
Jordan Pickford.
In 2010?
I was going to say Butland, but it seems a bit early for them as well.
I need to look up. Pickford couldn't have. Pickford would have been in 16. He'd have been 16 then.
In fairness, though, he was young when he got into that Sunderland team.
Is it not Butland either?
Holy shit, you're right. He signed, when did he play his first game? If I say he moved to Liverpool.
Sunderland to Liverpool.
Oh my word, how are you not? There's someone screaming this player.
Yeah, there will be, but it's harder when you're here. That's what they say.
He was not the Liverpool number 1 goalkeeper for long. Well, he kind of was, and then they just sort of went, we need to upgrade this guy because he might not be that good.
I've really drawn a blank.
I have no idea where he is actually at the moment. Where is he?
Is he still playing?
Is he what?
Is he still playing this?
Yeah,
this goalkeeper?
He's at Club Brugge. 155 games for Liverpool. Wow. 9 million they paid for him.
£9 million they paid for him. Jesus, from Sunderland. And he had one good year. Jesus.
Well, he played for them.
Wait.
4 years he played for Liverpool consistently.
Simon Mignolet.
That's the one.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well done, Ollie.
Jesus.
That is terrible.
Do you know what? They've had Alisson for so long that you forget how shit Mignolet was. He was really bad.
I think some people as well do forget that was 14 years ago.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Exactly. It's hard to remember this stuff.
Get the old FIFA out. It's better
12
then.
at the time.
No VAR then. Much more fun. Right. Thank you for listening to the episode, everybody. Treat yourself well. We'll be back on Thursday. We'll do that. What's more likely? I need to think of some because I'm struggling. Well, I know the listeners will drop some in. And I'll go, that's a brilliant idea. I can't steal it now. So, right. Yes. Treat yourself well, and we'll be back then. So, till then, that's us signing off.
You've been listening to At The Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At The Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.